Welcome to my channel where OP's Mill has been a part of the family for years, but she has never asked a single question about her daughter-in-law. It's me. Let's begin. Our next post is from a user. This happened when I was about 18 years old. My mom found a guy for me to date named Joseph. We started seeing each other and things were going well. Then we met his mother. His father had passed away a few years prior to them meeting someone else. When meeting Joseph's mother, I thought she was nice. She invited me over for dinner and we talked. However, all of our conversations revolved around Joseph and what he was doing, not me at all. She asked how he was as a boyfriend, how long we'd been together, and if he had told me anything about her or his father. And then she would launch into stories about him, nothing about me though. At one point, I blurted out that it felt like she didn't care to get to know me and that she only wanted to know what I could do for her son. She stopped mid-sentence and stared at me, and I instantly regretted what I said because she started crying. So I tried to apologize, but she cut me off and told me that she did want to know who I was because she wanted to know what type of woman her son would be bringing home. But after dating for 6 months and spending time with me on multiple occasions, she still hadn't asked a single question about me. A year later, we moved in together, and a year after that, we got engaged. Both times she was invited and attended. During those events, she made no effort to talk to me unless it was to tell me what I should be doing. At one point, she told me that I needed to have Joseph as best interest at heart and that I shouldn't expect him to change. Then she would follow it up with some story about how Joseph was always so helpful or how he used to build things with his father. About 2 months before the wedding, she gifted me an apron that said "Property of Joseph's mom" on it. I was livid. She told me that it was just a joke and I needed to lighten up. The wedding came and went without a peep from her. She barely acknowledged me during the entire event. On our honeymoon, Joseph told me that she had called him several times, but they both ignored it. I didn't think much of it until we got back. A few weeks later, she called me while we were out. She asked why we hadn't come to visit her, and I responded that we had only been back a few days and work had kept us busy. She replied, "Oh, you're probably busy with all that wedding stuff too." I rolled my eyes and said, "We would go, but we don't know what to say to you." That's when she hung up on me and told Joseph that I had spoken to her rudely and she was upset. He should have a talk with me. Of course, I refused. To speak to her, she resorted to calling my sister and asking her to convince me to apologize. When that didn't work, she began showing up at my house unannounced. One day she came over to watch the baby. Joseph and I had our first child, a boy. She told him she would take the baby for a walk and come right back. Well, she ended up taking a 3-hour drive to see her friend instead. When I confronted her, she told me that I had been rude about her not helping enough. How dare I accuse her of abandoning her own grandson? I just sat there and glared at her. Joseph took over and told her that she needed to apologize for what she said and done. She stormed out, wouldn't return our calls, and hasn't stepped foot in our house since. We have now been married for 5 years. In that time, she has sent us several awkward gifts like spatulas, cutting boards, and towels that say, "Property of Joseph's mom." She also showed up once with flowers that had a card attached saying, "Sorry for the loss of your father. Love, Mom." I looked at Joseph and burst out laughing. It is safe to say that she has not apologized, nor has she asked a single question about me in any capacity. It makes me feel so unwanted. Why can't she try to have a relationship with her daughter-in-law? In response to this story, a commenter said, "Nti Aemeas sounds like she needs to be given an award for the most insensitive mother-in-law of the year. She's rude, lazy, immature, and plain mean. I hope you find a way to put boundaries in place between you and her. Your husband needs to decide whether he wants to stick up for you or continue letting you be bullied by his mother." Another user added, She's not trying to have a relationship with you because she doesn't like you. Why else would she repeatedly try to push you towards something that you very explicitly stated you didn't want? It's not normal to show up to your child's home unannounced. It's not normal to gift wrap spatulas and towels with sayings that assert dominance in the household. It is not normal to belittle your daughter-in-law to her face and then try to use the child against her. If she actually wanted a relationship with you, she would spend her time getting to know you, expressing genuine interest in your life, offering help, and being respectful of your boundaries. Instead, she tries to micromanage your marriage, shows up uninvited, gives you items that are meant to antagonize you, and then gaslights you when you call her out on it. That's not the behavior of someone who is interested in building a friendship. That is the behavior of someone who wants to exert control over her son by undermining his wife. But our next Reddit post is from another user. My mother-in-law has been nothing but condescending and disrespectful towards me since my husband and I began dating. After we got married, she continued to treat me poorly, even though I was pregnant. After our first child was born, she made it clear that she disapproved of my parenting choices and offered unsolicited advice. I stopped talking to her because she wouldn't stop criticizing me. After our second child was born, she attempted to insert herself into our lives by requesting that we bring the kids to her house. I agreed, but I didn't know that she would start using my children against me. Every time my husband and I would fight, which was rare, she would use our children as pawns to manipulate us into getting back together. Since we finally had solid proof of her toxic behavior, we decided to cut her off. Now she tries to contact us through other family members, but we refuse to engage with her. She is no longer in our lives. In response to that story, one person said, "NTA, your mother-in-law sounds like a real piece of work. Using your children as pawns to manipulate you into getting back together is beyond unhinged. It's emotional abuse. It's important to protect your children from that kind of toxicity. By cutting her off, you're creating a safer environment for yourself and your kids. Don't let anyone guilt you into taking them back. You deserve better, and so do your children." Another user added, "NTA, her behavior is shockingly manipulative and emotionally abusive. She uses your kids as pawns to control you. That's textbook emotional manipulation. No amount of manipulation will ever justify getting back together with someone you don't love. If she truly cared about your children's happiness, she would support your marriage rather than trying to destroy it. By cutting her off, you're shielding your kids from a toxic environment. Don't let her guilt trips affect your decision. Your well-being and that of your children should be your priority." And our final Reddit post is from another user. My husband and I have been married for 7 years. We've been through a lot together, including finding out that I can't have children. My mother-in-law keeps telling me that she is worried that I might leave my husband because I don't have a baby bump. She thinks that I'm going to find someone younger, prettier, and more fun than me. The sad thing is, she isn't wrong. I am unhappy in my marriage, and I do think about divorcing my husband often. But I can't stand the thought of giving her the satisfaction of being right. So I keep telling her that I love my husband and I want to stay with him forever. In reality, I fantasize about divorcing him, moving to a big city, getting plastic surgery, and having a complete glow up. But then I would have to admit that she was right about me leaving him. Recently, she brought up the topic again and told me that I needed to have a baby. I snapped and told her that she was right. I will leave my husband, but that doesn't mean that she gets to win. I'll make sure that she sees me happy without him. She didn't respond, but I saw the smug look on her face. I knew that she was thinking that I was agreeing with her. In response to that story, one person said, "Intet, your mother-in-law sounds like she is living in a fantasy world where she can dictate your marriage and force you to have a baby. Newsflash, she can't. Your marriage is your business, not hers. And if she doesn't like it, she can kindly buzz off. It's your life." You decide how to live it, with or without a baby. And it's not your mother-in-law's place to shove her opinions down your throat. She needs to learn that boundaries exist for a reason. You don't have to tolerate her toxic comments. Tell her clearly and firmly to back off. If she doesn't, then limit your contact with her or cut her out of your life. You owe her no explanations or justifications. And you definitely don't need her permission or approval to make decisions about your marriage or future. Remember, you're not obligated to stay in an unhappy marriage. But you're also not obligated to listen to your mother-in-law's bossy, judgmental rants. You have options. Prioritize your own happiness and well-being. Don't let anyone force you into something you don't want. Another user added, "Well said." It takes strength and self-awareness to acknowledge one's own unhappiness in a marriage, and even more courage to consider ending it. Your honesty with yourself is commendable. And it is important to remember that seeking change or even considering divorce doesn't make you a bad person. It means you're human. It's okay to recognize that a marriage isn't working and to explore other options. Life is too short to waste on a marriage that isn't fulfilling or joyful. It's not selfish to prioritize your own happiness. And as you mentioned, you don't have to make your mother-in-law happy along the way. You owe her no explanation for your decisions regarding your marriage or future. Her smugness shows her true colors. She's pleased with herself for being right, not because she cares about you, but because she enjoys the feeling of being right. That's shallow and self-centered. It's not about whether she was right or wrong. It's about how her words affect you. And her constant negativity is damaging. Protect yourself from her toxic comments. If she won't respect your boundaries, then limit your contact with her. You deserve better treatment from your mother-in-law. Don't settle for her disrespect. Make changes that prioritize your own peace and happiness. You have the right to live life on your own terms. But before you go, if you want to hear more terrifying true stories, then check out my podcast. Thanks for watching.